Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Death toll in South Korea plane crash rises to 120. Bird strike, adverse weather likely caused fatal crash at Muan International Airport. Georgia to inaugurate disputed President Mikhail Kalashvili. Protesters demand for fresh polls. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi hails recent reports on malaria and cancer, says country is making remarkable progress in the field of science, health and education. And in sports, Nathan Lyon bowling frustrate India as Australia's lead go past 300 on day 4 of the Melbourne Test. Well, updates on South Korea plane crash first. The death toll in the South Korea plane crash rose to 120. South Korea's National Fire Agency in a statement said that 2 people, both crew members, rescued so far, while 120 others confirmed dead. The search and rescue operations are still underway. The crash occurred as a Jeju Air flight carrying 175 passengers and 6 crew on board from the Thai capital Bangkok was landing shortly after 9 a.m. local time at the airport in the south of the Asian nation. With the impact of the crash, the aircraft broke in half and caught fire. The cause of the accident is presumed to be a bird strike combined with adverse weather conditions. However, the exact cause will be announced following a joint investigation. Meanwhile, all domestic and international flights at Muan Airport had been cancelled. South Korea suspended President Yoon Suk Yeol refused a summons to appear for questioning on Sunday, the 3rd time he has defied investigators' demands in 2 weeks. Investigators probing Yoon had ordered him to appear for questioning at 10 a.m. local time on Sunday, a demand he rejected. Yoon also failed to address or attend a hearing he was summoned to last Wednesday, giving no explanation for his absence. The Conservative leader was stripped of his duties by Parliament on December 14, following a short-lived martial law declaration that plunged the country into its worst political crisis in decades. Yoon faces impeachment and criminal charges of insurrection, which could result in life imprisonment or even the death penalty, in a drama that has shocked democratic South Korea's allies around the world. Russian energy giant Gazprom would suspend gas exports to Moldova from January 1st due to unpaid debt by Moldova, which is bracing for severe power cuts. Russia supplies Moldova with about 2 billion cubic meters of gas per year, which is piped via Ukraine to the breakaway region of Transnistria, where it is used to generate cheap power that is sold to government-controlled parts of Moldova. Moldovan Prime Minister Dorin Resin condemned the Russian decision, which is a precursor to a total shutdown of Russian gas exports via Ukraine and to Europe, where it flows further to Slovakia, Austria, Hungary and Italy, once a current transit deal with Ukraine expires on December 31st. Moldova will be hit the hardest by the shutdown. In a statement on Facebook, Moldovan PM accused Russia of using energy as a political weapon and said that Moldova would now consider its legal options, including international arbitration. The US President-elect Donald Trump on Saturday defended the visa program that allows highly skilled foreign workers to immigrate to the US. Trump, in an interview, sided with key supporter and billionaire tech CEO Elon Musk in a public dispute over the use of H-1B visa, saying he fully backs the program for foreign tech workers opposed by some of his supporters. Trump's remarks followed a series of social media posts from Musk, the CEO of Tesla, opens new tab, and SpaceX, who vowed late Friday to go to war to defend the visa program for foreign tech workers. In his first term, Trump restricted access to foreign worker visas, and he has previously criticized the program. But during the 2024 campaign, Trump signaled openness to giving some foreign-born workers legal status if they graduated from a U.S. university. Now updates on Israel-Hamas conflict. Now Israeli forces have detained over 240 people, including several medical staff and the director of a hospital in northern Gaza during a raid on December 27. The Israeli military claimed that Gaza's Kamal Adwan hospital was being used as a Hamas command center, with all detainees suspected of militant ties. Ahead of the operation, the Israeli military said it coordinated the evacuation of 350 patients and staff to nearby facilities. In a separate incident, Israeli forces intercepted 2 projectiles launched from northern Gaza towards Israel on Saturday. Meanwhile, in Tel Aviv, hundreds of flag-waving protesters gathered downtown, calling for a ceasefire in Gaza and a deal to secure the release of hostages. The newly appointed head of intelligence services in Syria said the country's security institution will be restructured after all current security entities are dissolved. Anas Khattab announced a plan to dissolve the institutions that were so feared under the rule of ousted dictator Bashar al-Assad 2 days after being appointed to his post by country's new leadership. In a statement, he stressed the suffering of Syrians under the oppression of the old regime. Prisons were emptied after Assad's fall as officials and agents of the deposed regime fled. Meanwhile, people protested outside Downing Street in central London to call on the UK government to uphold its humanitarian obligations and end the suspension of asylum applications for Syrians. Georgia is gearing up for inauguration of Georgian Dream loyalist Mikhail Kavelashvili as the country's new president after his election was declared illegitimate by the current leader Salom Zurabishvili and the pro-Western opposition. The inauguration of Kavelashvili is expected to further escalate the political crisis after the contested October 26 parliamentary election in which the pro-Russian Georgian Dream claimed a landslide victory. The opposition parties and Zurabishvili do not acknowledge the election results and claim they were rigged. But Zurabishvili, whose mandate ends with the new leader's inauguration, has refused to step down until the government announces fresh parliamentary elections. Thousands of Georgians form human chains in Tbilisi and across the country in support of European Union membership and demanding new elections, marking the second month of their daily pro-Europe rallies. The protest began on 28 November after Prime Minister Kobakidze announced that Georgia could postpone its EU bid until 2028. And on Friday, the United States imposed sanctions on Georgia's former Prime Minister and the chairman of Georgian Dream, Bidzina Ivanishvili, saying he undermined the country's democratic future for Russia's benefit. Moving on, thousands have fled Mozambique in the past week to neighboring Malawi, seeking refuge from the southern African nation's deadly post-election protest. Some 13,000 people have crossed over to Malawi since Monday, according to government sources, the day Mozambique's top court confirmed the ruling party's win in October's vote. Several government ministries were put on alert and the asylum seekers were being housed across a number of temporary sites. Around 134 of those were killed since the top court on Monday confirmed victory for the Frelimo party, which has been in power since independence from Portugal 5 decades ago. Now, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un held a key policy-setting meeting of the country's ruling party last week ahead of the new year. According to state media KCNA, the meeting of party and government officials decided that North Korea would launch the toughest strategy to counteract the United States for its security and national interest. The December 23-27 meeting also reviewed the handling of floods earlier this year, including the plan that brought those affected to Pyongyang, the capital. The country also vowed to promote relations with friendly countries during the meeting. Kim also called for progress in defense science and technology to bolster the country's war deterrence. Now, Afghanistan is making headway in one of its biggest infrastructure projects. Officials say the second phase of the Kosh Tepa canal in northern Afghanistan is nearing completion. According to the National Development Corporation, 81% of the canal's second phase is complete, while construction of the associated dam has reached 67%. The ongoing work on this canal project is taking place in the Andhoi district of Faria province. This ambitious project aims to revolutionize irrigation in the region and significantly boost agricultural productivity. This will help achieve self-sufficiency in grain production that Afghanistan has to import from many other countries. The project will also generate numerous job opportunities in various sectors in the war-torn nation. Iran lifts bans on Meta's instant messaging platform WhatsApp and Google Play as a first step to scale back internet restrictions. Iran is known for having some of the strictest internet rules across the world. Social media platforms were widely used in anti-government protests in Iran. The ban on WhatsApp and Google Play was put in place in 2022 during mass protests against the government over the death of a woman held by country's morality police for allegedly violating the strictly enforced dress code. Further, the Iranian authorities have blocked access to US-based social media applications such as Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Now, Saudi Arabia is undergoing a transformation under Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's Vision 2030, with women at the heart of these sweeping reforms. From gaining the right to drive to breaking workplace barriers, the kingdom's women are stepping into new opportunities. Here's more.
For decades, women in Saudi Arabia lived under strict restrictions. They were required to wear abayas, prohibited from interacting with men outside their families, and they couldn't drive. But in 2018, everything changed. The historic lifting of the 86-year-old ban on women driving marked a new chapter in the kingdom. It was part of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's Vision 2030, a reform plan to diversify the economy and modernize society. Najad, one of the first Saudi women to get her driving license, recalls the liberating experience.
I was a bit scared. I used to go out by driver, but now I rely more on myself and I drive myself. It's a wonderful feeling.
Saudi women are feeling changes in other areas as well. They can now travel without a male guardian, attend sports events, vote, and even work in public-facing jobs. Gender segregation in restaurants has also ended. Work profile of women is also seeing a drastic change in their favor. An increasing number of Saudi women are now joining the workforce. This is bringing about new business opportunities in the land.
In the past, Saudi women used to work in their homes, but today women are going out to work. Saudi women have all the capabilities to develop this country.
But challenges remain. Legal restrictions require Saudi women to obtain the consent of a male guardian to get married or divorced. However, their growing presence in public life is reshaping the kingdom, one step at a time, and many believe that there will be more progress. Bureau Report, DD India.
On to some weather updates. Multiple tornadoes have ripped through the Houston area in the United States, with southeast Texas remaining under a tornado watch. The severe weather threat stretches across eastern Texas into Louisiana, Mississippi and Alabama, keeping the region on high alert. In South America, massive waves up to 13 feet high have battered Ecuador and Peru, leaving one person dead and forcing ports in Peru to close. Beaches along the central and northern Peruvian coastline have also been shut down to protect lives. Meanwhile, festive travel in the UK is taking a hit as thick fog blankets central London and much of the country. The heavy mist has disrupted flights, grounding planes and delaying landings, making travel plans a challenge on this busy weekend. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Indian Army contingent comprising over 300 personnel participate in joint military exercise Surya Kiran between India and Nepal. ISRO set to launch its space docking experiment SpaceX on December 30th. And China Zoo celebrated baby panda's 6 months birthday. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed recent reports on malaria and cancer, sharing his thoughts in 117th episode of his Mann Ki Baat radio program. PM Modi said India is making remarkable progress in the field of science, health and education.
प्यारे देशवासियों, भारत की दो बड़ी उपलब्धियां आज विश्व का ध्यान आकर्षित कर रही हैं। पहली उपलब्धि मिली है मलेरिया से लड़ाई में। मलेरिया की बीमारी 4000 वर्षों से मानवता के लिए एक बड़ी चुनौती रही है। आज मैं संतोष से कह सकता हूं कि देशवासियों ने मिलकर इस चुनौती का दृढ़ता से मुकाबला किया है। विश्व स्वास्थ्य संगठन WHO की रिपोर्ट कहती है भारत में 2015 से 2023 के बीच मलेरिया के मामलों और इससे होने वाली मौतों में 80% की कमी आई है। यह कोई छोटी उपलब्धि नहीं है। साथियों, अपनी जागरूकता और संकल्प शक्ति से हम क्या कुछ हासिल कर सकते हैं, इसका दूसरा उदाहरण है कैंसर से लड़ाई। दुनिया के मशहूर मेडिकल जर्नल लैंसेट की स्टडी वाकई बहुत उम्मीद बढ़ाने वाली है। इस जर्नल के मुताबिक अब भारत में समय पर कैंसर का इलाज शुरू होने की संभावना काफी बढ़ गई है। समय पर इलाज का मतलब है कैंसर मरीज का ट्रीटमेंट 30 दिनों के भीतर ही शुरू हो जाना। और इसमें बड़ी भूमिका निभाई है आयुष्मान भारत योजना ने। इस योजना की वजह से कैंसर के 90% मरीज समय पर अपना इलाज शुरू करा पाए हैं।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his Mann Ki Baat program elaborated upon the radiance of Indian culture in the world. He touched upon efforts from 3 continents which are witness to the global reach of Indian cultural heritage.
इनमें ताजमहल की एक शानदार पेंटिंग भी शामिल है, जिसे 13 साल की एक बच्ची ने बनाया है। आपको ये जानकर हैरानी होगी कि इस दिव्यांग बच्ची ने अपने मुंह से इस पेंटिंग को तैयार किया है। सबसे दिलचस्प बात यह है कि इन पेंटिंग्स को बनाने वाले भारत के नहीं बल्कि इजिप्ट के स्टूडेंट्स हैं, वहां के विद्यार्थी हैं। कुछ ही हफ्ते पहले इजिप्ट के करीब 23,000 स्टूडेंट्स ने एक पेंटिंग प्रतियोगिता में हिस्सा लिया था। वहां उन्हें भारत की संस्कृति और दोनों देशों के ऐतिहासिक संबंधों को बताने वाली पेंटिंग तैयार करनी थी। मैं इस प्रतियोगिता में हिस्सा लेने वाले सभी युवाओं की सराहना करता हूं। उनकी क्रिएटिविटी की जितनी भी प्रशंसा की जाए वो कम है।
He also mentioned the efforts in South America.
साथियों, दक्षिण अमेरिका का एक देश है पराग्वे। वहां रहने वाले भारतीयों की संख्या 1000 से ज्यादा नहीं होगी। पराग्वे में एक अद्भुत प्रयास हो रहा है। वहां भारतीय दूतावास में एरिका ह्यूबर फ्री आयुर्वेद कंसल्टेशन देती है। आयुर्वेद की सलाह लेने के लिए आज उनके पास स्थानीय लोग भी बड़ी संख्या में पहुंच रहे हैं। एरिका ह्यूबर ने भले ही इंजीनियरिंग की पढ़ाई की हो, लेकिन उनका मन तो आयुर्वेद में ही बसता है। उन्होंने आयुर्वेद से जुड़े कोर्सेज किए थे और समय के साथ वे इसमें पारंगत होती चली गई।
India and Australia are celebrating the 2nd anniversary of the India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement, a deal that's boosting trade and creating opportunities on both sides. India's Minister for Commerce and Industry, Piyush Goyal, took to microblogging platform X to share the achievements of the agreement. Signed 2 years ago, the ECTA has significantly increased market access for Indian exporters and brought opportunities for MSMEs, farmers and job seekers. Indian exports saw a 14% growth in 2023-24 under the agreement, along with a surge in IT, business and travel services. The agreement has also facilitated new post-study work and work holiday visas, strengthening the people-to-people connections between the two nations. Both countries are now committed to achieving a trade target of 100 billion Australian dollars by 2030, reflecting their shared vision of a prosperous and resilient partnership. From experts to education, the India-Australia ECTA is paving the way for stronger economic and cultural ties. The Indian Space Research Organisation is set to launch its space docking experiment SpaceX on December 30th. The mission will use PSLV C-60 lifting off at 21:58 Indian Standard Time from Sriharikota. SpaceX marks a milestone showcasing India's expertise in spacecraft docking technology. SpaceX will deploy 2 identical satellites. Key objectives include performing precision rendezvous and docking maneuvers, validating power transfer between docked spacecraft and operating payloads post-undocking with a 2-year lifespan. This capability is vital for India's lunar and interplanetary missions. Docking technology enables multi-launch missions and supports future human spaceflight. Only the US, Russia and China have mastered such advancements so far. Now, Ayodhya is set to witness a grand celebration on January 11, marking the first anniversary of the consecration of Lord Ram idol at the temple. The occasion, known as Pratishtha Dwadashi, will bring together devotees from across the country for a day filled with sacred rituals, music and cultural programs. The temple complex will host a series of spiritually uplifting events, offering a chance for devotees to connect with Lord Ram through prayers, chanting and celebration. The Ramlala idol was consecrated at the temple on January 22nd this year, a landmark event led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And preparations for Mahakumbh 2025, world's largest spiritual gathering, are ongoing with grand infrastructure, security and digital innovations. The Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister is personally overseeing preparations through frequent site visits and meetings, ensuring no detail is overlooked. For the first time, an MOU with Google will integrate the fair into its navigation system, reflecting the UP government's commitment to enhance the experience for devotees. Sports updates now. In cricket, Australia lost their 9th wicket after skipper Pat Cummins got dismissed by Ravindra Jadeja during the 3rd session of the 4th day in the Melbourne Test. 9 down Australia currently have Nathan Lyon and Scott Boland unbeaten at the crease. The duo have propelled the host to a lead of more than 300. Earlier, Marnus Labuschagne played a crucial knock of 70 before getting dismissed by Mohammad Siraj. Meanwhile, Jasprit Bumrah became the first bowler in the history of the game to have claimed 200 wickets in Test while maintaining an average of under 20. In chess, India's Koneru Humpy beat Indonesia's Irene Karisma Sukandar in round 11 to win FIDE World Rapid Championship 2024 in New York on Sunday. This is Humpy's 2nd World Rapid title after claiming the top spot in 2019 in Moscow. Going into the final round of the event, 6 pairs apart from the Humpy were leading the tournament with 7.5 points in 10 rounds. However, all top boards were ended in a draw before Humpy struck the final nail in the coffin against Irene. Indian Army contingent comprising over 300 personnel is participating in joint military exercise Surya Kiran between India and Nepal. The exercise will be held in Nepal's Saljhandi. The exercise will provide a platform for soldiers from both the nations to share best practices, enhance interoperability and foster a stronger bond in conduct of joint operations. And celebrations for a giant panda cub who turned 6 months old on Saturday at a zoo in southwest China, a public event held to mark the adorable cub's half-year milestone. It started as the cuddly cub tried out a slide that didn't seem very attractive to it. Then the cub turned to play with a mushroom decoration in the venue, which was made with crushed ice. That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.